So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and ever since they added the Kuva Fortress with the release of the War Within, I was really curious to see if it's better for farming neurosensors than Jupiter. More specifically, the Misto on Jupiter, because let's be honest here, farming salad over and over and over again is all nice and dandy, but it does kind of get old after about a year or so. So today, I finally sat down and I ran a bunch of missions back to back on both Kuva Fortress and Jupiter, and I wrote everything down. And since people have been asking me about the Kuva Fortress in relation to neurosensor farming ever since it was released, I thought, hey, might as well share the results with the people of the internet. So the short answer to the question, is the Kuva Fortress better than Jupiter for neurosensor farming, is no. Unfortunately, no. The problem with the Kuva Fortress is that it's just a bunch of normal missions smooshed together. It doesn't have any Dark Sector missions, and it doesn't have a boss fight either. And those two things, with a couple of exceptions like farming sentience on the moon, are generally the best places to farm resources. And that's because Dark Sector missions have a higher resource drop chance by default, and bosses have a very high chance of dropping either uncommon or rare resources. On top of, giving you an objective that you can move towards at all times, so you're not wandering around and wasting time. That's something that at least I think a lot of people overlook when it comes to rushing bosses to farm resources. The idea of having an objective so you're always moving forward. You are never backtracking or just wandering around. Also, while the Kuva Fortress tileset is fantastic and I love it to bits, it's not that great for farming. First of all, a lot of the rooms are incredibly dangerous with mines and infinitely respawning turrets that will kill you in seconds if you're not running a tanky frame. And second of all, the tileset is very maze-like and has a lot of verticality. So while there are some good rooms where you can farm, a lot of the rooms just spawn enemies all over the place. So it takes the enemies a while to get to you in endless missions, and it makes the non-endless missions longer than they are on other planets, because you're running through a maze where the enemies are spawning all over the place. Now, I'm not saying that you should never run the Kuva Fortress if you want to farm for neurosensors. All I'm saying is that Jupiter is still better. More specifically, the Salad v boss fight Themisto on Jupiter. And there will be an argument till the end of time whether you should run Sinai on Jupiter or Themisto on Jupiter, but every single time I've put up Themisto against Sinai in the last year and a half or so, ever since I've been doing farming guides, Themisto won by quite a bit. However, even though the Kuva Fortress isn't anywhere near as good as the Misto on Jupiter is for farming neurosensors, it's still good if you don't need a ton of neurosensors, and you could also use a little bit of endo, because the survival mission can reward you with a 400 endo pack on rotation A, which is the first two rewards, so minute 5 and 10. And most of the time you will also get at least 2 neurosensors, or 4 if you're running with a booster like I am in this video, after the first 5 minutes as well. Now you might be thinking, 4 neurosensors after 5 minutes with a booster? How is that bad? Well, it's not. It's actually pretty damn good. It's just that Themisto is ridiculous right now. I did 10 runs on Themisto just so I have something to compare the results from the Kuva Fortress to. And in these 10 runs, with a booster, I got 44 neurosensors. That's 22 neurosensors if you're running without a booster. And I did all 10 runs in about 30 minutes, and that's including both loading screens. Now, I know that you get more resources from endless missions if you're doing them in a party, because more enemies will spawn and therefore you're gonna get more resources, but you have to bear in mind that a lot of people simply don't want to play in a party. They want to play solo, and at the end of the day, I'm trying to cover as many people as possible, so when a mission can be done solo and be very effective, it's a big plus. Because it doesn't matter if you run the mission solo or with a party, you're gonna get good results. With that said though, in order to get the most out of Themisto, you should be running with an AoE weapon like the Ignis or Talos Boltis, and if you have Necros, you should bring him as well. Because the best way to farm Themisto is to turn on Desecrate and spam AoE all the way to Salad and then all the way to Extraction. That way you'll be getting neurosensors from multiple different sources. You'll be killing loads of enemies and desecrating them, you'll be breaking containers, and if you're lucky you will get a couple of neuro arrays spawning in as well. And finally there is Salad, which is a boss, and bosses have a very high chance of dropping either uncommon or rare resources. But if you simply don't have the gear, or you don't want to farm this way, or you just get bored of doing it after a couple of runs, you can easily swap to either the Kuva Fortress or Sinai, because they are far more accessible when it comes to specific loadouts. You can essentially run whatever you want as long as it kills the enemies, though Necros is still recommended. And if you want to run Sinai, here's a little tip: break the containers at the start, because they can and will drop neurosensors as well as ayats and stars every now and then, which is a nice little bonus. But once again, while these missions can give you a decent decent amount of neurosensors, Themisto on Jupiter is just so good right now with the combination of bazillion things that you get neurosensors from over there. If you just want to farm neurosensors, Themisto is the way to go. And that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching as always, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.